second. And we're up and live. I'm going to tweet out. You can let Discord know. One of the rare 3 host pods here.
Yeah, no one likes us anymore.
True. Burned all our bridges.
Why is my watch? Stop. Just take it there. Okay. All right. Got the notes up.
Epson chat got me to slam a 5-hour energy, so we will not have that same energy here.
Oh, yep, come on.
Gotta prioritize my caffeine usage.
I see how it is.
Yeah, with how chill Winky is, and we're just like, yeah. He's like, yeah. I see what you're saying there. All right. We should be ready to roll. We gotta start chants. We got 5 people just chanting. All right. Let's just go. I think we're ready. This is just for me.
Good.
Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today we're joined by Ryan, aka The Yip Show. How you doing?
Hi, Bob. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. We're also joined by Mel, aka Melarina. Hardcore Mel. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good. It's kind of redundant after we've already asked.
Well, I feel more
Listen.
comfortable giving my real answer to Mel. Honestly,
True.
I'm a little bit tired today, Mel.
Thank you, Yep.
Yeah, we did have a really fun time on F's in the chat yesterday, and so we are a little tired from that. And then they raided my stream, so I had hundreds of people in my stream, which is definitely weird from the 8 to 12 I normally have. So it was an interesting night, to say
Yes,
the least.
we all suffer from video game addiction, is what we're trying to say, and
Yeah,
due to
right?
that, we're here and we're tired.
We definitely do. But we are bringing you the show regardless. I'd like to remind everybody we always stream this show on twitch.tv/mashthosebuttons. Today in the show, we've got a few things. We got a few reviews. We got a few emails, and I promised I would get this long email on this one. So with the 3 hosts is the perfect time to do it. We're going to finally do that. What have we been doing lately in WoW? A little bit of raid progress with the nerfs that came in. Then we have some news. And then we're going to talk about today's run of the Road to Rag Molten Core. So stay tuned and let's get started. We had some reviews, Yep.
Yes, we did. The first one is on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Great podcast for a WoW fan. I quit playing WoW Classic a few months ago due to lack of free time. I miss the game, but simply can't put the time into play. One thing I have the time for, though, is to listen to discussions about the game. I never thought to look for a WoW podcast and found this one and have binge watched / listened to the last 5 episodes. Not too bad, but those we can pump those numbers up. It's been fun listening to the
That's
current
like
state of the game.
15 hours of content. Let's just be real here.
It is quite a bit of content.
It is a lot. It's been fun listening to the current state of the game, which I have a lot of fond memories of. You guys do a great job and help me give me my WoW fix even though I can't play. Appreciate the show and keep up the great work. Thank you from Orange Crush on Apple Podcasts.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much. But yeah, we've got as far as I can tell, like around 9,000 minutes worth of I don't know. All I can see is minutes worth, and this next review talks about that. Want to thank you, Bob. Whoa, I said Bob first, even though Yip is listed first.
Interesting.
I can't believe that
Interesting.
just happened. Wow, I want to thank you, Yip,
See, you
Bob,
don't
and
even feel like you deserve to go first. You see that?
first is a little heavy. For an awesome show. I listened via Spotify, and in my year of review with them, you were my top show, listening to 49 episodes for 6,880 minutes. Enjoy every week to hear your shenanigans and awesome interviews you guys and gals do. Easy way to kill 2 hours working in construction. Wish they were longer. We do our best.
We do the best we can.
That's Let's Crypt. Thank you so much. That review was on Warcraft Radio. We appreciate them in both places. And we also had some emails as well too. The first one is talking about the Terran Gorfiend simulator, which we've been doing a little bit in Guild as well too. But it says, "Hey guys, I'm a huge fan of the show. After listening to Monday's episode, I got really pumped about hearing about Tier 6 content. Mechanics are going to be." Oop, I made the thing too big to read. All right. Mechanics are going to be a much bigger problem really soon. Yeah, I've been dreading it. Hearing Crix, who I love by the way, give examples of a few bosses made me think of my old guild and just how punishing some of them can be. I was a raid leader when back in original TBC. Oh, he probably knows a lot more than us then about this next tier content. I was always looking for anything that might help my raid succeed. One important tool we used was the Terran Gorfeed Construct Simulator. Basically, it was a small flash game you could play that would let you practice anytime you were the target of the Shadow of Death debuff. This tool worked wonders for my raid, as some raiders always had a difficult time with their shadowy constructs. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys. Maybe it could help some struggling raiders when it comes to the Terran Gorfiend encounter. The original game isn't around anymore, but I found a very similar one. Hopefully, it may help someone. Thanks for making amazing content each week. I look forward to future episodes. And Antaraxia. How'd I do? No, Ataraxia.
I think you did pretty good.
All right,
So
Ataraxia.
I
Thank you,
had
Ataraxia. We had played this before. We've been doing it in Guild a little bit. I know
did
Bob
you
doesn't look at Discord.
did you do it before or after I put this email in our
Before,
thing?
we've been
Okay,
posting
see, I
it.
didn't
We've
know
been posting
anything
it in
about this.
Discord, yeah. So it's just like a there've been for other bosses as well too, but people make these little games. But it's a flash game where you can basically practice the mechanic. Um, People in our guild. So if you look, right now, people are talking about it. Even we had our good friend Skeet clearing it in 30 seconds. But it's a good way to practice before it comes out, and I'm sure we'll put a link to it in the show notes that you can check out.
Definitely.
But it's definitely worthwhile. You don't want to be the person who messes up mechanics and either wipes your raid or just lets yourself die. So it's definitely worthwhile. Thank you, Ataraxia,
Um,
for sending that over to us.
Real quick before you move on to the next, he mentioned Crix, and I wanted to give Crix a shout out because I've been working with Crix and helping him get his new podcast, Classic Life, on iTunes and Spotify and all of that jazz, because that's really where podcasts thrive. And so he wanted to do that. So anybody who, I mean, the vast majority, pretty much all of our listeners are audio. Uh, so if you guys weren't wanting to check out YouTube or Twitch to get a podcast, this is a new Classic WoW podcast called Classic Life. It's him and Sarth. It's hilarious. They work good together because Sarth's all into speed running and like parsing, and Crix is like, I don't like that, and so they kind of work together and have a good chemistry. So definitely check them out on. They should be available within a week. I mean, they might already be there. It just kind of depends. When you first put a podcast on the platforms, it can take anywhere from a week to a week and a half, sometimes a day. So definitely check them out. It's been pretty funny so far.
Yeah, do that. We had
Right
one other
after you
email,
listen to Warcraft Reloaded.
of course. Listen to us twice.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so we had another email that we've been putting off for a little while. I think maybe for 4 to 5 weeks we've been saying, "Ah, we'll get it next week, we'll get it next week," and
Yep.
then we have a guest on and we push it and we push it. But this is someone who emailed us before, but let's just get in with, "Hey, first off, I left a review on Warcraft Radio and then used my girlfriend's Apple account as I don't have any Apple devices or anything to leave one there too. I hope
Pog
this shows
champ.
I hope this shows enough to support Mel back on the show. Back
I'm here.
You're back. Welcome back."
Thanks.
And that makes me
I knew
wonder
I'd
which
be
This
missed.
is
time.
this is how long ago this was sent in.
Yeah, when was this? Also, thanks so much for the heads up on Melderon coming back for a monthly appearance. Um, it's it says I really rate the guy, and I love that he comes in and keeps it real once a month.
I really like the guy that just like did an autocorrect
I
It
at some
feel
it
point.
like
sounds so close to
hate.
hate the guy,
Yeah.
but the follow-up sentence makes no sense. But I I want to choose its hate and say I really hate the guy, but I can't help but love when he comes on. He's
Let's go with that.
It seems like forever since I last emailed in, but it was literally in August. Yeah, that was like no time ago. At the and but so much has happened to my guild in that time. So I thought I'd share since you guys say you love hearing our stories, which we do. So not long after P2 dropped and the flask bug wasn't fixed, a few of our guild members were banned for abusing the flask quest thing. Like our raid healer, an officer who was a really good healer, and one of our top DPS. So this is
Raid
the
leader.
Orgrila raid
Yep.
Yeah, it was the
leader.
raid
Sorry.
leader.
Sorry. I don't have my glasses on. It's a raid leader. Um, so yeah, that's pretty bad. We had a similar experience when our raid leader got banned for a couple of
Mhm.
days in the middle of raid. So that's not good, but it's the Ogre Law Flask quest. As soon as it dropped, you could just like stack them, right? Some
Oh god.
crazy nonsense. Um, Luckily, our raid leader was only a month. Well, a month is still a long time, but
Yeah,
he's also our main tank.
of
So we
course.
have so we have to shuffle to keep progression runs going. Change main tank to our very capable warrior tank. No worries. A few weeks later, our warrior main tank and shadow priest leave the guild, which is fine, like they wanted to progress faster and had somewhere to go. And now it's been a month since the ban, and our raid leader is back, so it's all good. One of our healers respects to Shadow Priest. We're looking good, but still behind, and not 8 to 10 at this point. Now, keep in mind, this was a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So they hope they might be 10 to 10 at this point, even. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then our best healer goes and joins the warrior and original Shadow Priest. Yikes.
No.
Whew.
Again, totally fine. I like the totally
He's so
fine tone.
optimistic.
I say this too, though. Like every time we have some shifts, I'm like, yeah,
It's
That's
totally
totally
okay.
fine. It's good. We're good. Yeah.
They are real life friends, and I'm really happy for them. I wonder how. Can't tell how sincere this
And
is.
I'm really happy for
Yeah.
them.
Then Blizz starts saying they are gonna nerf stuff, and we haven't even had a chance to hit our stride. We had some Lady V attempts this week, which felt great, and hopefully be 8 of 10 very soon, maybe even 9 of 10 when we finally get into TK progression. Like you said, like you guys were saying, what happened to just waiting till the next phase? Yeah, the
Yeah,
nerfs are already through though, so nothing we can do now.
I know.
Also, just wanted to say a huge thanks for all the tips and info you three provide. I didn't play any real PvP before listening to the show, but Yip talking about Arena really hyped me up. So me and my best bud, he got me into WoW Classic last year, started a twos team. BM Hunter and Resto Druid, and we do okay. That's a competitive twos. You can
Yeah.
do okay with that.
It's all about
It's
having fun.
you can do okay with that
It's
though.
about the friends
I
we
think
made
there were
along the way.
I think there were a couple rank 1 BM Hunter Resto Druid duos, so it's good. It's heaps of fun, and I feel bad for anyone who doesn't play Arena and plays WoW Classic a lot. It is a lot of fun. With raids as well, though you guys share so much information and experiences, anyone can be the info person. You don't have to know every detail of a raid, but if you're seriously raiding, it doesn't really take much to just look stuff up and be another resource of information for your guild. We talked about that when No Hit Jerome came on too, because he has a video about that. How it's actually pretty easy to be the information center of your guild.
Right.
Please get Bobby to say it if this is read on the show. Iron Man, by the way. P.S. Sorry for the huge ass email. I had a lot to share, and I listen every week. Gull. Now Bob has something to read to everybody. It's up to him how much effort
Should I
he'd
do
like
it
to put.
like loud, or should I do like
Do
for
your
the
best.
horde, or should I
Uh,
do for the horde?
I mean,
even
you just
more.
did both.
Give us
So
a war cry. Stand a little farther away from your mic.
For the horde! No, I screwed it up. For
No.
the horde! Nope.
All right.
Too much. Too much.
You guys got 3 to 4 variants there. I feel like that was a
I like
little
for the
treat for the
horde.
horde listeners. Yeah.
For the
That's a
horde.
little treat for the listeners. They will sound clip it and put it on Bob's Fansly. Anyway.
Oh,
But thank you so much for your email. I feel bad asking for this, but go ahead and send us another email with another update now that the nerfs are through. I'm curious if you're 10 to 10 and how you're
yeah,
doing. So
right.
go ahead and send us that. Thanks so much for your email. Sorry it took so long to get to it, but we wanted to make sure we had the time instead of me just speed running it while the guest sits there awkwardly.
cool. Well, yeah, that was awesome. Thank you for sending in the reviews and the emails. We appreciate them. But now we got to get on to what have we been doing lately in WoW?
I can go first because mine's pretty short. I was out of town all week. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, so I went out of town, and last time I think you guys remember when I went out of town and I tried to raid, and
No
it
bueno.
was no bueno. I was just like running in place. Like by the time I cast a heal off, Yip had already like taken all this damage and been healed up like 7 times. Um, but I did stay at a different hotel and I got the upgraded Wi-Fi. And it was better. It was definitely better. I maybe could have rated, but I had a work colleague that next week's his last week, and so we went out to dinner and stuff. So, a couple things there. I was too nervous to level my hardcore duo with Bob while I was out of town, just in case I lagged, and I didn't want to die to lag, especially right before we went on F's and chat, right? So Bob was like, "Well, why don't you just level a solo character? And if you go like to level 8 and you don't, and it's fine, we can do duos." And I was like, "Okay." And so I leveled a hunter, and I think I'm level 8 now. I'm still in like the little starting zone. There was a couple times, so you don't even realize like leveling a priest and then leveling somebody that can't heal. Like just a couple times where I was like, "Oh crap, I need to run like right now." Uh, and there was at one point where I was level 1 and I pulled this like level 3, which like I see level 3 and I don't really think anything of it, right? But I'm level 1 and I was like, "Yeah, oh my god." So
Well, Hunter's basically just like a warrior before they've got a pet. They're just oh, you shoot like
except
a
for
gun.
I can't do hardly anything once they get close to me, and I'm like whacking it with a stick, like trying to kite. I did learn that I have to run earlier. I was like waiting till they get too close, and then it was just no hope. So that was fun. And then I got that to 8, and I didn't have any crazy lag spikes, but it made me nervous enough that I didn't do my hardcore character. So I got back last night or yesterday afternoon. And then we went on F's and chat, and that was fun. And then Bob and I duo leveled for a little while. And
You guys are getting up there.
yeah, so we got to 28 last night, and then we got to 29 before the show. We leveled for like an hour or so. So I am 29 on my priest, and I've yet to die.
Yep.
I mean, that's the
Yep.
thing,
And
right?
you can check that out on twitch.tv/BlazinBob.
Yeah. Hear me get mad at Bob when he tries to put us into horrible situations.
Oh, yeah. Well, she did. I mean, she talks about we did play a bunch over the weekend too, before she went out of town, which was, after last week's podcast. But currently, what I've been doing is raid logging TBC and hardcore playing. I mean, I've been doing. I kind of stopped my duo with iPod, the other guy that I was doing duos with, because we're just both enjoying our solos so much. We're like, do you want to go over to duos? And we're like, yeah, let's just do this. And so we're
I mean,
both
the
doing
truth about
that.
it is that they were just jealous because my duo was doing so much better than their duo that they were like, we
Well,
shouldn't even try.
it's just like splitting up the time is just really hard. And so three characters is a little rough. But at that, I'm up to level 33 on my solo rogue, and then doing the duo with Mel. The solo rogue, it's amazing how much harder it is than duos. But duos, we talked about this before, on F's and chat last night. Like duos, you die to uh, just being way too overconfident, or two people doing different things and not following one direction. So duos, you're kind of your own worst enemy in that situation. But all of it's been a good time, and I'm having a good time. I'm trying to play as much as I can because pretty soon here it's going to be TBC a lot, and really have to pay attention and getting everything in order for the new raids. And so I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can. And so that's basically what I've been doing, and I've streamed like every minute of it. I'm like a full-time streamer without a chat at the moment. So if you want to come in and say hi, I
Got a
mean,
couple chatty
we
people.
got like 8 to 12 people usually. It's, cozy. We can definitely talk to everybody who comes into chat at the moment, which is definitely a cool thing. So come in
I
and
usually
say
say
hi.
Bob and I are playing like a game of chicken because we both want to lead. And I think Bob finally conceded and now follows me a lot more than I have to follow him.
Hey man, if you can't beat them, join
I
them,
win.
right? What about you, Yip? Have you been doing any more of the hardcore, or you been just doing TBC stuff? What have you been doing?
A little bit of hardcore. I started a warrior today after watching, and we'll talk about it a little later. Watching the molten core stuff, I was interested in warrior because I kind of realized that I don't. I kind of want to. I want to do some end game hardcore. I don't just want to level to 60. I want to be in dungeons. I don't know if I want to raid, but I want to do some of these end game dungeons. I'm watching. We were on F's and chat. And I was watching people die in dungeons, and I want to be there. I want to see people die and lose everything in front of
I
my
feel
own
like
eyes.
I had the opposite thought process when I watched ORFs in chat, where I was like, that sounds miserable. I don't think I ever want to do a dungeon ever.
Well, that's why I want to get my warrior up because I feel like I can actually help on my warrior. Like being a
Fair.
stable tank who will do 5-man dungeons feels like that could be fun. And it's like it would be insanely exciting. Like it must be so nerve wracking the first few dungeons that you do, and like truly impossible. Uh,
Hmm.
but so I started a warrior. I've leveled my mage a little bit. Haven't been doing the duos too much. But mage is just so easy. I may finish it off AoEing the whole way just to like make it more
A
interesting.
little more
But
interesting,
like
yeah.
I don't see myself dying on mage unless I'm being real dumb because
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. I've played Mage a long time. Other than that, for TBC, been doing some BGs. Been getting back into the BGs in preparation for next season because I'm gonna want some of the off pieces. I need some marks and some honors still because I have two characters, so that's pretty annoying when it comes to getting everything I need for PvP. But BGs on my warrior is still incredibly fun. We went out there. Our GM Hearthscare, his warrior got his Storm Herald this week, and we were just out there pumping. We were doing so much damage. It's just incredible what you can do with a couple of fully geared PvP warriors. So that's been actually really fun. Still, it's Eye of the Storm weekend, so we were doing some last night even. I think. Um, but yeah, other than that, just raid, PvP, doing some arena, nothing crazy, not making a big push yet. I'm trying to maybe make a big push. I was talking to Hearthscare, maybe doing Warlock, Disc Priest, Warrior threes with Butters and Hearthscare, who are both much
Nice.
better players than me. So maybe I can get a little bit of carry and get some early points. But yeah, for TBC is sort of like, or sorry, not TBC. This phase is sort of like whatever now. Uh, right now, it's really just like preparation for Black Temple and High Jaw. There's really nothing else to be doing in TBC.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's what we've been doing lately. I I'm slacking on the PvP stuff. Like, Blizzard, if you're listening, you really need to make a change to the honor gain. I know you say that will get people to stop playing, but people play with alts and stuff. And someone like me who really enjoys it is just not going to do it the third time here. Like, I'm just not going to sit for 80 hours in BGs just to get a few off pieces. And so therefore I'm going to PvP less, and that's a bummer for that's a bummer for me and a bummer for, a lot of people that aren't going to do the same thing. So just lower the cost, man. It's absurd.
It
All
is a
right.
lot. I noticed though, last thing, a lot of Alliance versus Alliance this side of the Storm weekend. Most of the games were Alliance versus Alliance. So
Interesting.
just something interesting to think about. We still get our loot boxes though, so that all works out.
Well, Faralina is completely dead now. Like, we are now at 25% on white main, so the end is nigh and getting a little scary. So, all right. Well, what about raid? Because we did have the nerfed raids and a
Raid was
DDoS.
crazy. So we go in Tuesday, hyped up. We got everyone there, all the big players. Except for Mel. Sorry, Mel, you weren't there, but everyone else was there.
Right?
I did not
Wow.
intentionally that line. This was not an intentional line I went down. But we were all hyped up. We were all ready to finally one night this content. We've never really tried to one night the content before. Like, I have a feeling we could probably do it in 3.5 hours previously or something if we had really like focused, but we didn't really want to do that. So uh finally that it's nerfed, we're going for our one night. Things are gonna be awesome. Turns out Vash is open right now early. So that's radical. We head into SSC. We clear our way to Vash. Wow, what a joke. This fight has become the most boring fight maybe that there is.
Really?
It's rivaling Kael'thas.
It's
All of the
crazy.
all the spawns die so quickly. You're just waiting around.
Okay,
Like you're
Oh
just
my
so
god.
literally sitting
the
there.
ads weren't even, it was because I was lucky enough to not have an assigned curse this week, and the ads, it wasn't even worth putting Curse of Agony on because they died before the big part of Curse of Agony actually kicked in.
Wait, even like the striders and stuff?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
stride.
I
We're
mean it
going
was
down.
nutty.
Did you have
Oh,
to
right,
net the
Mel.
striders and stuff
I
still?
forgot Mel wasn't there. I was like, "Mel, why don't you know this?"
Yeah.
No, yeah, we were still netting, we were still doing everything the same, but it was basically like almost didn't even need to have a kiter. You just need to net over and over and kill it. Like, it was really, like
Oh.
it was very, very easy. The
So
Nagas were going down
question, do I
quick.
need to go get more thornling
No,
seeds?
you do not need any more Thornlings.
Sweet.
The biggest reason you don't need Thornlings is because the toxic spores don't do damage on landing now. So you actually
What?
have time to move and take 0 damage.
And they
Before
barely drop.
Yeah, and they don't drop anywhere near as often.
Oh my
But
god.
part of the reason they don't drop as nearly as often is because Vatch has less health, and the toxic spores is like a softened rage that
S-
like builds up over time. But Vatch has less health, so you just melt her.
Speaking of which, once again, I was able to Doom this week, so I go put Doom on Lady Vash, and usually Doom hits about 76%. Well, at 70%, Doom still had 15 seconds left before was going to hit. So I was just like, well, that
Wow.
was a waste.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all have to take a moment to adjust to these boss fights because they are a bit different. The trash though too is quite a bit easier. They have less health. The damage is I think it's the same across the board. So we were ending up with a lot of dead people because there's a lot of people underestimating trash. For some reason, people think nerf means they don't need to like pay attention to threat. So we were having some people like going a little crazy on trash. But
Well, I
that was fine.
specifically went a little crazy on trash because you told me to last week,
I'm down for it. You measure what works perfectly for you, and I'm down for it.
I mean, you were
Um,
also missing your circle of healing priest,
which did kind of
so
suck.
yes, we were. Yeah, that is true. But we went to Lurker next, and Lurker was fine. Like I think we did it in the one submerge like normal, but we did kill
Oh,
it quite a bit faster.
you should probably point out that we had Lady Vash downed in under 20 minutes. Like trash to Vash.
Oh, sure, trash to bash, 20 minutes. I didn't even know. I
I
didn't
just
know
made that up. That just came out.
that.
Oh my god.
Trash to bash sounds like what you would call the TBC hardcore challenge, like killing Lady Bash hardcore, like self-found, so you get from trash to bash. Um, but yeah, so Vash very easy. You can just go there right away, which is awesome. We'll be able to do it next phase too because we needed a lot of gear still, so it might be worthwhile hitting those bosses at least on off nights if possible. So we do Lurker. Lurker's like almost exactly the same. Maybe the health pool is less, but I was getting hit about the same. So everything was pretty normal there. I think the water hits less hard. The water normally does
Hmm.
1,000 a tick, and now it does 500 a tick, which is bizarre. Still so nice, easy. We go to Hydros next, and I am killing it. We are having an impeccable Hydros. I'm gonna just hold it all the way through 100%. Don't even need a shield wall. He hits a little bit less hard, so that's nice. And he's just melting in that first phase. Bring him across. I might have taken a little bit too long, and I did get destroyed when he turned. I think what happened is I took a 250% frost hit, and then he turned to nature and then hit me for a ton just by proximity. But it doesn't matter. I'm allowed to die at that part.
Yeah.
um, so things are going great. I get battle res, and I was like, nice, we're battle res, and suddenly something odd is happening, and we can't attack. And
Oh god.
we're like, "What is going on?" And at first I thought something was going weird with the transition, but nope, the DDoS happens.
Yep.
And on Tuesday, Blizzard got DDoSed and it was absolutely crazy. Um, we all got kicked. Some of us were able to stay online and in SSC, and then some of us got kicked out entirely. I personally could not log back in until about an hour before our raid time ends. So it took about an hour and 45 minutes, I think, before I could even log back in. And at that point, Netherstorm and Zangermarsh were both down, basically. So it kept saying like transfer instance aborted.
Yeah, or
And
you would fly halfway through it and then it'd suck you back to Shat.
Yeah. Yeah, it would basically the zones were like you could go in them, but like they were fake and not on the server. So you'd get teleported like back to Shat, or you get teleported back to the entrance of Zangermarsh. So we had to stop raiding, which was a huge bummer. We were doing great and we were super amped up for what was going on Tuesday, but we had to save it for Thursday, unfortunately. So on Thursday we actually go to TK first, right? Because we wanted to make sure. No, we didn't. We actually did go SSC first. I wanted to go to TK first
Me too.
because I wanted to get the end bosses down.
Yeah.
But we went to SSC first, probably to get our guild leader Storm Herald or something. I don't know. Um, but that ended up being totally fine. Everything was about the same. Fathom Lord gave us some trouble this week, which was a little bit weird. I think we wiped a couple of times on Fathom Lord. One time, a prosecutor just got insta-gibbed when he pulled. We were pulling him. We were keeping them right next to where we pulled him. So I think what was happening was like he was consecrating, and then everything hit him before the Mr. X pulled, and that was way too crazy.
Wait,
Um,
which one's Fathom Lord? I never
the
know.
one with the lieutenants, and we like stack them and kill them. And someone pulls a priest off to the side.
Got it. Yeah, I remember now.
So that was cool. Leo, I think has less health, but basically was the same. I did die on Leo.
Wasn't my
um,
fault.
what was very easy in a roundabout way, I can still blame you. Uh,
Fair.
I mean, Morgrim though was where things got wacky
Really?
because Morgrim's Murlocs have like 15k health and they just melt.
It was
I
so weird
God.
to be a lock, and we got another Affylock spell check in our guild switched to uh,
a
Raffle
warlock.
Dots. Yeah, and
Oh,
so we had another seed, and like I'm sitting here seeding, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm barely able to get a seed or two in before they're completely dead. Like, what's the cutoff there? Like, what do you do? And it was just like it was bizarre how like fast those went down.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like I mean, you almost don't even need a tank for them. You could probably just Nova them and AoE them down. They really have
That's
no health.
insane.
They do the same amount of damage though. So like that's the big thing is like I was still getting trucked by Morgrim, I think for the most part. But everything was fine. I think at that point I was putting on like really heavy mid gear because we were kind of having a rough night. We were wiping on Fathom Lord a lot. I died on Leo, so I was kind of just like, okay, let's go, like let's take it slow tonight. um,
He's
we
like,
go to
Mel's not
TK.
here. I better put on all my mid gear because
I mean,
I'm just
And
saying.
it was horrible for me because, like, I don't know, anybody who knows me knows that, like, I don't miss a Chiefs game for anything. Like, I have not gone to weddings, I don't go to family events. Like, it used to be 16 times 3 hours AM year. Now it's 17, but either way, those times are mine. I still came to raid, but I was still like, it was a struggle to keep between both of them, but I did fine, but it was just like it was a lot to do. Ugh.
they
And
play it all the time. Was that football? Is that what you're talking about?
it's
They'll do that
only
next year.
yeah, but it's only 17 times AM year, and I don't miss, and that was a very
The,
crucial game
the
too.
It was a
17
crazy
ti
game.
the 17 times a year, like, you've had to calculate this to argue with someone before. I just know that you've been like,
Oh,
"Listen,
because
Well, no, they
it's
just
people,
play 17 game.
17
They
it's
just play
7"
17 games a year.
I know, but it's like, there's only 17 of them, and they're mine.
yep, they
Oh
are
yeah,
definitely mine. I definitely have had the
he's
argument
had
with
to argue
people,
this to me before
Yeah,
because
and
it
I'm
was
like,
like a family event or something, and he was
and I'm
like, they
like, they
shouldn't have
shouldn't have
scheduled it during the
scheduled it
Chiefs
during the
game.
Chiefs. Yeah, like why would you schedule something during the Chiefs game? This is absurd. Like you know that I've been doing this for 20 years. Like
well, I think we can all really appreciate that Bob came to raid and was participating, even though there's a Chiefs game. So that I guess that played a part in what was going on that night. But same problem in TK. So many trash deaths, just endless trash deaths, and that just brings the mood down. Like it wasn't bad, but it was just rough. Like it was just a
I
trash death
think
after trash death.
I think everybody I think we were rolling on Tuesday because everybody hadn't really heard the hype about all the nerfs. And then everybody hears it, and then Thursday everybody comes in just expected to YOLO, and they still hit it as hard. It's just faster. So it's just like people I don't think realized that it was still
Yeah,
it wasn't
got to
just
be
going to be
careful.
like you just roll your face on the keyboard, you know.
Yeah, so, a lot of deaths. I sarcastically at the beginning of Raid was like, "Remember guys, the content's really, really easy now, so make sure you don't worry at all. Don't pay attention. You'll never die no matter what you do." And then it unfortunately kind of bared out that it felt like people listened to me and didn't realize I was being
There's a first
sarcastic.
time for
Yeah,
everything.
it was
Yep.
A
rough.
couple a couple like I saw some warriors like charging the mobs
Oh
before
my
we got
god.
in. Like a hunter would pull and a DPS warrior would charge. And it's like, what? Wait.
Nope.
Things were wild. But I mean, it was still fine. We did finish everything, but we go to Alar. Alar is barely easier. I think he has like a 10% health nerf. But instead of stacking now for the fireball, for the drop that he does, you spread out because it does almost no damage. So you just want as few people hit by it as possible. It's not like a soaking mechanic. It's just this does X amount of damage, I think, and then you just want to be spread, which makes that fight, I think, even
And then
easier like that.
also,
Yeah.
so I had heard that it was beneficial to kill the ads now. So I was killing the ads, but I guess we didn't know
So
what's beneficial about killing
here's
the
no.
ads.
Here's the thing with Bob is Bob will do that even though we strictly said still don't kill the ads. Even though we clearly in raid said, "Still don't kill the ads." Bob's like, "Well, I heard that it was beneficial
It was
to."
the
Who
tail
cares
end.
what you heard?
It was the tail end of the Chiefs game when they went into overtime.
I think what's beneficial that makes sense. I think what's
Yeah.
beneficial is, it probably counts for logs again now. Like that's probably
Oh,
the
maybe.
Hmm.
But
they
why
have
would
very little
Blizzard say
health.
that?
They have very little health, so you probably can't just kill them as they come out. And then they would like they those 3 explosions probably don't run the risk of killing anybody. But once we have like 12 of them out,
See,
I
all
don't
I
know.
did was when Alar was up, I just put Curse of Agony on him. I didn't do anything else.
Yeah. They have like very little health. I mean, I don't well maybe we'll change our strategy and take a look, but if it counts for logs, we'll probably kill them just so people don't yell at us about it. Like, well, I can't parse or I can't parse. Um so we go to KT next. We do him second. I think that's a good order to do it because you have to clear all the trash there anyway. Um I wanna I wanna preface this by saying that KT is very easy now. The lieutenants, they have like one of them has the same health. Like one one of them is basically the old one of them was the same health as all 4 of them now. So it's like you kill them so quickly. It is absurd how little health they have. In the first phase, you blow them up, and it's like hard to even get Thalage right to the back of the room. You blow them up so quickly. So that's great. Uh, KT has no health. You can just blast them. You don't even have to pay attention to Phoenixes anymore because you can just push them to 50% easily. If you have a low DPS guild, you might want to kill the first Phoenix. You could probably even kill the first Phoenix fast, kill the egg, then just focus everything on KT and get them to 50%. So very, very easy. Now, that being said, we did manage to wipe 4 or 5 times on KT, almost
It
taking up all of Raid Night in order
it
to get
was
KT
a
down.
shit show. I did like so many different things went wrong too.
Yeah, it was like we found a new way to wipe every time. Of course, you got the classic, I died to a flame strike. Gotta love that one. However, I will say we already had about 7 deaths when I died to a flame strike, so my head wasn't in the game at that point. I
It
think
was
it was
killing
already,
me.
yeah, so that was a little bit rough. Again, I really think that our failed Tuesday really, I think, just puts people in a bad mindset the next time too. Like we were already in on Tuesday to one night it, then Thursday rolls around, we're all kind of grumbling our way in.
I know. Like I was like thinking
Yeah.
we were gonna one night it. I was like, I'm gonna be free to watch the Chiefs game on Thursday. It's gonna be great. Like, oh,
Yeah, so that's that's fine. We did get it down, and 2 defender chests dropped.
The 1 week I'm not there.
In fact, Kim wasn't there either, so we were missing 2 bidders on both of these defender chests.
Oh,
oh,
They
that's another thing about Thursday night. I had to go fire because we didn't have a Shadow Priest, but we
yeah.
did have a Fire Mage, and I hate fire. Like just the sound. Like when you do Shadow
the
Bolt, Shadow Bolt,
sound.
Shadow Bolt, you get that foomp, foomp, foomp. When you do fire and you have to do incinerate, it literally doesn't make a noise when it shoots off. It's just the entire time it goes crackle, 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 crackle. And
It
it
does
just
crackle,
feels
crackle. That's
so
really annoying.
not lead.
Yeah, I can see that. That is I think that's an important part of your class fantasy. You don't want to be like crackle crackle. Like that's your warlock
Yip
experience.
understands. Yip understands. I'm a
I
I'm a
Oh.
master of the underworld, Shadow.
yeah. So that we kill it, we got it. We got a Rod of the Sun King for our enhancement shaman. We have 2 enhancement shamans, but one has been enhancement this whole time. So congrats to
Stew've
him.
got the scepter, apparently.
Oh, yeah, 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 I forgot. In on Vash, the mace drop, the healing mace, which was awesome. And as we
The
were getting
first one,
DDoS, yeah, as we
right?
were getting DDoS, we were all not making fun of her, but we were laughing, saying it was gonna get rolled back or something. Like
Oh my god, I would have been freaking out.
that'd be really
Can
funny.
actually can actually say though now, I think the KT and Vash roles have been reversed with the nerfs. I think KT's the harder one now.
Yeah, I mean, you can fall to the same issues that you were failing to on KT, where Vash, all the hard parts that you were dying to, those are nerfed. I think I think that KT is significantly easier, and I think
It's just
anyone.
still long, isn't it?
It's still long. But he doesn't if you kill the lieutenants in phase 4, phase 3 after he summons them all or like they all res, he comes out immediately. So you're not actually waiting for an RPG
Oh.
to happen. So once all 4 of them die, he just comes out. I was under the impression that that timed phase was still going to be timed that whole time. Not only was I under that impression, I could have sworn that is how it works. Like when you go and kill KT on retail, I'm pretty sure you kill all the dudes, and then you have to sit there waiting for him to come out. But I could just be misremembering, but I
Mm.
thought that was how it worked. But he came out immediately. The only reason I say that is because as the tank, I was shocked. I was tanking the last mob. We kill it, and then KT's running around. I'm like, oh,
Oh
like
my
what the
god.
heck? It wasn't a problem, but I just like wasn't ready on that first pull. But yeah, we had people dying on weapons phase and stuff, and I don't know what's up with that entirely, but things were definitely a little bit weird.
Yeah,
But
and it was
KT,
bizarre too because I guess the locks pulled, but me and FJ were fire, so we didn't have that extra 15%. I don't, it possibly could have been the Affy lock because his seeds are like monster compared to a
yeah,
Destro lock, but I don't know. It I don't think anybody was seeding any earlier than they
I
normally
know
do.
things were weird, and I don't know what was going on, but things were weird. Prosecutor died on weapons on one phase. Like things were rough. We go to Void Reaver next. Void Reaver maybe is exactly the same. I actually don't know. Maybe has a little bit less health. But I almost one tanked it. I think to about 90%. It's way better when I pick it up first.
I
That's
oh sorry, I thought you.
no no.
I was just gonna say I did notice not having circle of healing on that fight. I got to a fourth health a lot compared to
Yeah,
almost never doing
pounding
that for weeks now.
pounding is a little scarier because Mel's been like insane on the threat chart on that fight, so she's putting out the circle of healing
It's
numbers.
just spamming circle of
Yeah,
healing. It's on my mouse wheel button, and I just literally like click a group, spam it, click a group, spam it. Like
yeah,
it's
but picking
great.
it up first, I'm not in danger of dying, so I was a big fan of that because like the healers, it's not even the healer's fault. Like when Void Reaver turns to me after Prosecutor, like I just die sometimes. If I get like
Mm.
double crushing, people aren't precasting on me. Like it's like, yeah. So me picking it up first worked way better. And Prosecutor was able to build second threat by the time I was like going to be in danger of losing it. So that worked out good. Prosecutor being our paladin tank. Then we go to Solarian, and Solarian's got a little change as well too. Instead of having soakers, the Wrath of the Astromancer puts a living bomb on you, where you just have to move away from the group. That's very easy. So
Hmm.
Solarian is just as easy, maybe easier because we have two more people participating instead of just soaking. And that went well. That went totally fine. We killed her very fast, and she probably has less health or something as well too.
We should probably mention that the new hotness was to kill KT and then have cleared trash to one of the other bosses and
Yep.
then using the KT weapon on the bosses. Now, Warcraft Logs has said they're going to remove these parses, but looking at our parses, it looked like as of Thursday night they hadn't actually made that change yet because, I mean, we were just plowing through, but had really low parses. So I'm hoping they get that fixed soon, and like also the parsing now is all new because it's going to be a two like basically a 2.5 parse.
Yeah, so
So
it's set up as its own thing, which I couldn't like, I almost wish they didn't, and they just, like, didn't log any of this stuff. Because like, this Nerf content who cares? This is like parsing in Karazhan right now. It's like, it's whatever to me.
I mean,
Now that it's all Nerf.
honestly, if I'm being honest, parsing in TBC is really just kind of a joke. I mean, it really is all about how your group is set up. There's so many factors that go into getting you a good parse, whereas in Wrath, I think a lot of that shit's fixed and ironed out. Whereas right now, like if especially if you're in a guild that rotates shamans, like it just unfun for anybody else in any other group to parse, and it's just toxic. I mean, I said it, I think you said it too before TBC ever launched, like it, they needed to stop the groups from being shifting, but even if they did that and stopped the shammy stuff, it still is all about the group
None
setup.
none of this is even close to the amount of annoyance that 5 freaking squawks is. Having 5 chickens in your group for melee so ridiculously powerful that, like, I mean, I don't as a tank, I don't really have this problem. Like, I can pretty much parse on anything that I want to. It's not as, like,
Real
insane.
quickly, explain squawks to people, the
So
engineering
the,
chicken.
there's the battle chicken, the gnomish battle chicken, gives you a haste buff, which alone is pretty good. It's a really solid reason to go engineering.
It's
However,
5% each, right?
so yeah, 5% each. However, they stack, and you can pretty much guarantee to trigger them in the trash bag beforehand. And then you go into the boss, and you have 25% haste, and you win.
How long
You
does it
That's
last?
huge.
Oh, I don't even know because we don't use them.
I think it's
Because none
probably
of us
it's probably a
engineers.
5-minute buff, would be my guess.
I literally don't know, so I don't want to say, but it
Oh,
is a really
Fruey
big
in chat says 4 minutes. Fru.
I think
4
it's just
minutes.
true.
Yeah, I'm horrible at
4
that.
minutes,
I like
perfect.
added
So
Y.
it's the boss fight. So it is that is a big problem. I think that Blizzard actually needs to change it so that you can only have one active on you at a time. Uh, I think it's I think it's incredibly ridiculous that they would allow them to stack. And the fact that they've stacked this long makes me pretty sad.
I mean,
Like
that's my whole point about TBC parsing. It's just,
yeah.
it's a little bit silly.
This is an easy fix though, so I'm hoping Blizzard does that. But yeah, I mean you can the actual parse numbers it's whatever, but you can still pump and all this content is easy. But everything got nerfed quite a bit, but we still had a really struggle bus raid week. We were missing a Shadow Priest on Thursday, we were missing Mel on Thursday, so things were a little bit off. Uh, but I think next week we'll be in there Tuesday clearing everything at once. Except we won't have our Paladin tank, so we'll see how that goes.
It's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird. We'll figure that one out.
I mean, it's just gonna be, if we do single target, we'll still drop everything, I think, just as fast. It's just gonna take, it's not gonna be like turn your brain off and cast seed, at
Yeah.
least for the locks. I don't know how it's gonna work out for the other classes.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. But that was our raid this week. I think raiding is going to be pretty straightforward and simple until Black Temple and High Jaw comes out. After these nerfs, there's really no threat of not clearing these bosses anymore.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on to the news. So first off, in the news, they fixed the bug. Like right when Tuesday came up, for some reason Tempest Keep, if you zoned into it prior to being in, your specific raid, it would save you to an ID as if you had killed one of the bosses. That is fixed now, but we just thought we would mention it because it was something that happened, and that probably ruined a lot of
I was gonna say,
people's
did that
raid nights.
save a bunch of people and then they couldn't join their actual raid?
Well,
Yes.
it did. I just don't understand why they were there. Were they just trying to like?
You zone in early.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
maybe
You're not
that's a
gonna
thing.
wait outside. Oh, for TK though, I mean, I guess SSC I can see not waiting outside. TK I feel like is a little more safe to wait to zone in, you know?
Yeah, but I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think most people zone in or anything like that, but that's pretty silly that was happening and unfortunate. People couldn't raid because of it.
Yeah. So anybody that affected, we are sorry. In other news, Winter Veil, a holiday event, has started on both Burning Crusade and Classic, and this is the first one in both of those classic era. I should say. So yeah, we've got the holiday thing. I mean, there's not really any awesome things for raiding and stuff. It's a lot of real, little fun items, snowballs, and turn your pet or your mount into a reindeer. And for anybody leveling, doing those quests is a pretty nice little experience boost. But that is back and going. Is there anything that I'm not thinking of that for either TBC or Classic that like is a must-have item or something?
For Wintervale, I don't think so. I don't think
so
there's
either.
any
The
like
handful of
buff food.
snowflakes.
It's true. You really do want to have a storage of snowballs. If I recall, let's go back
I did make a lot of money
year
on
ago.
that.
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about a year ago.
I'm thinking about Frogger.
I'm thinking about Frogger and a snowball murdering you, Bob. Is that what
Yep.
happened?
The only time I ever died on Frogger, it was pretty epic. That was Mr. Buttercakes.
Yep, just throw a snowball at your friends and help them die.
You have to make sure you're in their party though, or it doesn't work.
Yeah, there is a clockwork rocket bot, as someone mentioned in chat as well too. There is a companion pet coming that you can get from the Wintervale gift, which is pretty easy to get. And like you mentioned, yeah, I mean, Wrath of the Lich King is coming out, so now is a good time to get a head start on these pets and holiday events that you might need to get for achievements and stuff for Wrath and for
Achievements.
companion collection. It's
Everybody
coming.
hates on him. I think they hate on him because of the like link achievement to join the group, but I really enjoyed achievements. Like it,
A lot of people really like achievements. It gives you like just something because like do I really want to go get exalted with the airy peak dwarves? You know, the Wildhammer dwarves. They give literally nothing, but if it counts towards an achievement where I can count the amount of exalted factions I have, now it's like I'm completing my character more
yep.
as opposed to just a nothing. Yeah.
And as Mel said, like, said many times, I'm a completionist. So I just remember when they first came out, I was like, well, I have to uncover the entire map. And I've got to go get this. There was something where you get a bunch of chickens to attack you. I forget what it was, but that was the fun one. Yeah, there's just a bunch of like really fun ones, and
There's also don't frost mages become a bigger thing? Well, I guess they are a thing right now, right?
in PvP.
There's a couple like elixir of frost power that you can get
Mm.
or enchant weapon for frost power.
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
Oh,
I think
that
they're
might
lower level,
okay.
but
Well, you can definitely check those out then. But Wintervale. If there's no food that's gonna give me hit or spell power or
yeah, I
something,
know, right?
get this holiday out of here.
Yeah, don't forget though, definitely Christmas Eve, I think it is, and Christmas, maybe a day or two after that, you get presents. And so make
Yeah.
sure and go get those presents from Iron Forge or Ogamer. I don't know if they're in the other major cities or not. I think they are, but I don't
I think
know.
it's Orgrimmar and Stormwind. And Ironforge. Yeah. I think it's in all of them, isn't it?
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I
Is
don't
the
know.
mistletoe worth it? It gives you 20 spirit.
Mistletoe might
That
be worth
seems
it if you're leveling up or a class that really needs spirit. I'm guessing it stacks too.
It does not. It's not going to stack with the discipline priest spirit buff. That's for sure.
no, but if you
It's
don't
not.
have a
Right.
discipline
If you're
priest,
using, if you're gonna use, if you need it anyway, then yeah, that's probably something to look into. Sure.
All right, then in other news, the Burning Crusade public test realm came back online and was scheduled to be online until the 20th. However, they took it down, I think today, and said basically what they say. Hold on, they said it in the thing here. They said,
We'll let you know.
well, they said that it, like, basically people were crashing all over the place. There was a whole bunch of problems, so they just like they just shut it down, and
Yeah,
so
there's about a 6.5 hour time frame between putting it up and saying it'll be up till Monday and then taking it down.
yeah, so look for it to come back up soon, but yeah, it's definitely down for now. All right, and then the next one is the Burning Crusade Classic post nerf clarifications of for Tier 6 and Sunwell Plateau. So, there's been a lot of talk between different, private server players and everything talking about how they think that we have the post nerf version of Mount Hyjal and Black Temple on the PTR, but Blizzard's coming back and claiming that there was very few changes to Tier 6 throughout the entire time of TBC. So they plan on putting this one version out, and you're not going to see a post nerf state later. They do say that Sunwell Plateau did have a pre-new nerf and post-nerf era, and they do plan to do something similar to what they did here with Tier 5. So I did not know that, and I was just listening to all the private server players, so it's pretty interesting to know that they really didn't change much, and people are just remembering it differently.
Yeah, it's time to call out these private server players who've been feeding us misinformation for all of TBC. It's time, this isn't vanilla WoW anymore. I feel like TBC private servers have been wrong about 90% of the
Everything.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually insane. I mean, I don't remember any of this because I didn't do it back in the day. So I
Right.
can't
I don't
I can't
either.
go with anything, but it's like you read these people who I'm not gonna call out any of these people specifically, but they're so confident in saying, well, the pre-nerf version did X and Y, and the nerf version does this and that, and then they're just lying.
I know, and
Isn't the case.
Or it's
if you
just how
really
it
want
was
to,
on the private server, right?
Yeah.
And then they talk to each other and like they all get the same story going on.
well, and see, that's what I love about Crix. Like Crix, when he talks about it, to be like, well, that's how it was on private servers, so I have no idea what's going to be on this, And I love that type of honesty. Whereas some of the people are like, no, it was this, and they really are just
Yeah,
making
they're
it
saying
up.
it like it's a fact.
Yeah,
I have a
and
problem with people like that personally, but
they
I
do it
I'm vanilla.
because it's so hard to look up and actually confirm anything because you have to look through all the different patch history and everything. It's
Which
just
I did do. I did take the moment to do it, and Blizzard does appear to be correct about not many changes happening in Tier 6. The one that was specifically pointed out, was the Shadow Resist fight, Mother Shiraz in, Black Temple, but they're talking about literally, like, the amount of damage it's supposed to do, and I looked at the patch notes for that boss, and that never changes at any time in any patch. So it's like, where did this come from? Yeah, I don't know. It's just the misinformation seems in TBC is going crazy, and I feel like maybe every additional expansion will be the same. Like, the less amount of private server players there were, because everyone was like, "We must keep vanilla preserved and perfect." So I feel like
Mhm.
they try to do their best to keep it as accurate as possible. I feel like they just don't they jump the shark after vanilla. They just don't care anymore.
Right. They're done.
yep, yep. In other news, the Incubus is coming to Classic WoW. It's a model that's downscaled, so look for that soon. Beyond that, that's it for Burning Crusade news. So, moving on,
Are you surprised that we don't have a date yet for tier 6?
I am because I'm a like I'm like basically I figured we'd have like 2 maybe 3 weeks of the nerfs cuz it really feels like the arena season's getting long. Like I haven't looked to it exactly, but they could actually give those 2 weeks arena break that they were supposed to give for for the first season till the second season. So that does give them a 2 week leeway to kind of
Well,
do it later.
it's quote unquote leeway, but it would still again be last minute info for arena players, which is
Yeah.
Right.
annoying. Like, even if there's a 2-week break, they'll still need to know. Like, they probably still will only give that like 2 weeks of information, which means at any point in time we're 3 weeks out. Usually, like, we're probably about 3 weeks out whenever they announce a date. Um,
Do
so
you
Or
think
who
that
knows? Could be just 2 weeks out.
they've
yeah,
been putting it up on the PTR, right? But it
yeah.
hasn't been
But it's been taken
consistently.
down. It's been taken down quickly, like every time. There
Do
haven't
you
been
think
like,
that's because they don't want people playing it, or do you
no,
think it's
it's
because
too
there's
broken.
problems?
It's too
Well,
broken.
we know for
Yeah.
sure this last time it was because it was broken. Like they did say they made just adjustments, but they when they put the PTR up, they put in these new data data gathering systems, and I'm guessing that that's what broke the PTR coming back up because people were just like all over the place. It could possibly be what broke uh, no, never mind. That's a dumb thing. I'm
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say though is that maybe the reason we haven't heard it be announced as to when it's going through is because maybe they're having some problems with some sort of launch.
and they don't. It's just it's weird that they don't. give us a start doing tentative dates, and if you can't make it, then let us know that you can't make it. And I feel like that's a lot more forgivable, but especially for the arena people specifically, they really need to know. It was a shit show last time. There were a lot of really upset people that put thousands of hours into PvP, and those are the people that I feel for this. Like for us in PvE, it's not that big of a deal to get the news
It's
later.
just more. We just get more gear. Like even if they
Yeah.
push it off, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. It is what
Yeah,
it
but
is.
you say tentative dates is better, but you have the same reaction to that, right? Like then nobody believes the tentative dates because they always get moved. And so like I think there's no good answer here, right? I think when they have it ready, they need to give a certain amount of time before they release it and they need to tell us, right? Like I
I
think
would
that's the only
Yeah, I think we all
solution.
yeah, I think we all agree, but the question it doesn't matter if they give a tentative date or when they announce it, they give us more time. Just nobody likes when it's announced and then it's coming out in 2 weeks. Like
Right.
whether you announce it and it's coming out in 4 or 5 weeks, or you give a tentative date so people have an idea, you gotta give some people some indication of when this is ending.
Why do you
Unless you're
think they
Arnold
Eternal
have to?
Schwarzenegger in Total Recall, then 2
Okay, but
weeks is okay.
why do you think that they have to align no, I didn't know. Why
because
do
Nobody
you
they
think
said
they
gets
have to align the arena with the tier?
one, because that's how the gear, like the item level gear matches up. And then two, that's how they announce the phases. They said phase 3, Black Temple, and Arena Season 3. Ah!
Right, but
Sorry,
don't you think
the
it would
cat
be
scared.
better if they just said Arena Season 2 is gonna end in 3 weeks, right? We may or may not be ready to release Black
Well,
Temple and
that's
Mount
what Bob
Hyjal.
was saying. Have a bigger break, like a bigger arena break would be fine, but any announcement is fine. They just have to give some announcement. Like, yeah, so they could end the season and then have a longer off season for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a
I feel like
longer
arena
off
players would
season.
like that better.
Yeah, they'd get more
Like,
time to like grind BGs and get ready for the next stuff. And
well, and they just have a knowledge of when it was gonna end, right? Like, I think that's their biggest, like
yeah, my point is I don't think they would mind a longer break. I think they would prefer a longer break over not
No.
knowing when the season's going to end
right,
earlier.
right.
Yep.
But we're kind of just going through. We're this TBC is the test. Like they're fixing everything up because classic era. Moving on to season of mastery news. There's not a ton, but as of December 16th, Phase 2 hit, and they can do that like clockwork now because they've gotten all of those things set up. Although if they make changes to the bosses, that might be weird. But I mean, the molten core changes to the bosses went through pretty well and pretty easy without a hitch. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird that Phase 2 is already in Season of Mastery.
It's uncomfortable for someone who is not a high level in Season of Mastery. It's like, "Oh, we're coming. It's coming." Like, this is gonna end in no time almost. That's how it feels. Like, the phases are flying by.
I mean, it's nuts. It kind of has me sitting over at TBC, like looking at it longingly, being like, oh, I want to go to the next one. But at the same time, like, we still need a lot of gear and everything too. So maybe
Yeah.
that's a bad thing to wish for.
We need a couple key roles in our guild to fill out. Blizzard, please wait for us to recruit before Black Temple comes out. Thank you.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for news. Let's move on to discussion. So this week in discussion, we're going to talk about the Road to Rag Molten Core raid. Last week they had gone in and they had just cleared trash. They didn't lose anybody. It was great. This week they went back in and they've dropped 2 bosses and didn't lose anybody. Yep, you got a chance to watch this. I watched this. I
I
don't think
watched
Mel
it as well.
did.
Well, Mel, I'll tell you the story. It was pretty exciting to watch. So they started out with a trash farm. They all had 2 flasks on them. Their goal was to do a 2-hour trash farm, I think, and then use the second flask to wait, does that make sense? Do flasks last 2 hours? Yes, they do. All right, perfect. So they were gonna flask last 2 hours, do a 2-hour trash farm, which I didn't watch except for like the last couple resets, and
Yeah,
then
I tuned in I tuned in right at the end of the trash farm too. Did they did they use flasks on everyone? Like was everyone
yeah,
flasked?
every single person had every single buff possible.
Oh wow.
This raid was kitted out to like ungodly levels, which when I was looking at that, I kind of thought they're gonna get this stuff down. These are like incredibly high level players, like
Right.
some ex pros, some pro gamers, people who are
Lots
like
of
here
streamers.
to game, lots of streamers, and a lot of streamers who were streaming didn't have their streams turned on. They were focused on playing the game,
Oh
uh,
wow.
and and they did that. Like they played at a very high level. So they did their 2-hour trash farm, which was like cake, cleaner than our molten core. Everyone, you have 40 people with 100% uptime, right? They're all paying attention. They're all just like they're there to raid and do nothing else. So that you could see them just like absolutely destroying trash. They were doing really well. Tyrannosaur was doing the pulls and doing an incredible job. So everything was really succinct. But Lucifron and Gehennas were the two that they were gonna do when they went in, which are the easier bosses. Like the hardest part of those bosses is that, like compared to the normal vanilla, is that you just need more tanks now for the most part. As long as you're still on your decurses, um, and your dispels, then like you're
But
pretty much good to go. So what?
decurses were on point, man.
Yeah, the decurses were nuts. They were knocking people out of MC as well, like in no time.
It's
You would
because
get
nobody
MC.
cared about a parse, right?
Well, if we say that, but there were a lot of pumpers in these groups. Oh, there were a few people who were 100 parsing on these boss
I
fights
know Stay
because
Safe did, yeah.
they had a feral druid who was just absolutely insane. I can't remember his name. It was like Chuck Norris or something. I don't remember. But he was absolutely crushing. He 100 parsed both bosses. But you could tell that, like, okay, yes, they're hardcore, but Gordon Ramsay, not Chuck Norris. Thank you. It's Gordon Ramsay is the is the druid. He just had, I think he was popping his pummelers on trash. Just
Oh
absolutely
wow.
insane. Yeah, they were doing every single person was doing everything they could, and it was so clear. Playing at that high of a level while fully consumed to the max, they melted these two bosses. Basically, they focused down the main boss and then killed each of the ads that also cleave. They would pull them to the wall, separate them by each tank. They had one druid tank and then 4 warrior tanks, and they crushed it. I don't know what else to say. The only mistake that I saw, which might not have even been a mistake, maybe there's some big brain play that I'm not aware of, was that Graze for Days had salve on while tanking one of the
Dude,
ads.
at the very start, yeah, somebody put salve on him and like he didn't turn it off.
Well, I think he had salve for the trash, so he had salve just remaining from the trash.
But
Yeah,
dude,
all these
okay.
board players don't know how to play Alliance. That's
So
what's going
I
on.
saw something hilarious. So Grace for Days had this heart rate tracker. So while I'm watching,
Yeah.
I was Googling how to put that on my stream because I was like, this is awesome. But I was watching the trash. You know, he's sitting at a like 105, 110. When they're doing the trash, he's like 120, 125. They go in that first boss, and he's just going up. It's going up. It's going up. And all of a sudden, he's at 160. It's like, oh my God. He's like, and then Cargos turns it off. And I was like, no, I wanted to see if it was going to go further. And I didn't switch to Grays in time to see. But I mean, you could tell that these people are like, woo.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like imagine the top tier players right now. Um, they are speed running for the most part, right? They're speed running content. This is like those top tier players taking it slow and taking their time.
Yeah.
So you're really seeing like the highest caliber of execution.
And they're not worried about speed, so they're really explaining everything, asking if
Yep.
people have questions, and I mean, it's like my type of raid environment. Like I'm it was so weird to me to come back to Classic and just be like, oh, we're go, 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 go. Okay, okay, okay. Like, I was so used to, like, a little bit of explanation before each boss and stuff that we just did by, you know, default in our original vanilla and TBC and even Wrath. Wrath got a little bit faster, but for the most part, it was a lot of talking.
What's like here's the straight facts. Watching that raid made me start another warrior because I realized I can't play any other class at a high enough caliber to like be involved in a raid like that. I was like I could not play my mage or my priest in this raid and feel like I belong there.
See,
Like, I gotta level a warrior if I want to do any end game on hardcore. I think that's basically what I decided.
for me, I think I got to be a warrior or a rogue to really be in that raid. I mean, I don't think I can cut it as, but I mean, Warlock's job is a little bit different in, vanilla. So, but I don't think, you're not expected to pump. I'm basically saying it. But like
They
to
were
keep
pumping
up,
though.
yeah, to keep up, I would have to be a warrior or a rogue. And the only reason warrior is just because I spent so much time learning it throughout Classic.
Well, that's why I wanted to be a priest, right? Because I know, like, I went through all of this content already on Classic on my
Yeah.
priest. So I have the best shot on my
Yeah.
priest.
Yeah, for me, leveling, I have a better shot with something that's not warrior, but for
Yeah.
end game not dying,
Yeah.
warrior I think is like where I need to be. I mean, I don't know if I'll finish that out, but it was definitely exciting to watch. Like just watching it, I was like, oh, like this is the highest caliber of rating I've ever watched.
Well,
Uh
what's funny is I feel like so they're doing these, molten core runs now. And I can't tell you for like an hour that we were playing before we got on here, I can't tell you how many like 57, 56 players we saw die in the chat. And it was just like, I feel like they're feeling this like pressure to like get to 60 to like get into the raids. And I'm like, oh man.
I feel the opposite. Like it's cool that they're two of 10. What, there's 10 bosses in Molten Core? 8 bosses? 2 of 8?
10.
How many? 10, okay.
10.
Um, so that's cool. These bosses are much easier than the other bosses. There's way less personal
Hmm.
accountability. You only need one person to mess up a living bomb mechanic and kill
And there's
everybody.
what, 3 living bombs at a time now?
Yeah, so
And they
so
leave like an AoE like thing you can't walk in too. So
I have a strong feeling people are gonna be dying. And if they're not dying in raid, they're gonna be dying outside of raid while they
Hmm.
finish up their previous and stuff like that. So I don't even think there is a rush because if you really want to see end game, uh, there's probably gonna slots will continually open up.
I feel
Event
bad.
How long is the season? Is it a year?
One year, 12 months. I
How long
feel
has it been?
1 month,
two,
1 month
two.
and 3 days, 2.
Well,
Thought it came out November
then how did
15th or
phase 2
whatever.
start? Because it
Because
should
phase
just
two
be.
is not CWL. Phase two is the
World bosses,
yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay.
So I think that was shorter.
Okay,
Uh,
so maybe they're not just going. I was thinking two
Maybe I
months
lied.
phase, 2 months phase, 2 months phase, 2 months phase, but maybe they're doing it a little bit different then because of that. Because, yeah, you're right. It hasn't been
Yeah,
out for 2 months.
November 16th. So a little more than a month, which makes me really feel like I'm not behind at
Yeah,
all.
same.
I feel like we've been talking about it for longer than this.
Yeah. Well, we
um,
have.
yeah, but
But yeah, I was going
yeah.
to say,
All right.
I feel bad for Cargos because he's the one who started this whole road to rag movement, and he's now the guild bank, and so he just watches now and doesn't get to play. He's working up another character to hopefully get in the raid, but he's the guy with all the flask recipes. He's the guy with all the guild bank, uh, you know, regions, everything else. Like so, it's just kind of a
Powerful
bummer.
position to be in.
Definitely, definitely. Don't buy
10
gold, Cargos.
10,000 USD or I'm killing my character.
Oh man.
Oh god.
But yeah, it's gonna be a really neat thing to kind of watch play out. I think Cargo said it after, they're taking 2 weeks off now. They're not going to do another one because they're taking 2 weeks off for the holidays. So there's going to be a lot of people that were in that raid. They're going to die before then because they're going to be trying to get more pre-bis. They're going to be trying to do other dungeons. And as we saw on F's in the chat last night, 60s are dying with full pre-bis. It's scary.
You never know when you might hit the space bar and jump off a mountain.
I know. I was like, whoa, dude, come on, man.
That still haunts me.
I know. Just like turn around and back off the cliff because you'll go a lot slower backing up.
Walk down the path.
True. Don't buy an epic mount.
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's why I don't have my epic flyer, in case I might die somehow with it.
Do we have anything?
I just like super lagged out. You guys were like frozen forever.
Oh no,
I'm back.
sad. Well,
We're all good.
do you guys have anything else to add? Is this actually going to be our first like normal podcast amount of time episode ever?
I think it's gonna be our first normal podcast amount of time ever. I mean, I could talk
Weird.
about something else if you would like to extend it for another hour. But I think
Well, I think honestly we do this show and it probably goes really long a lot of times because we're like, I've been thinking about this all week and get this out, but doing F's in the chat last night, I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff, and in my brain I can't properly parse what did I talk about then and what did I talk about
yeah,
the week prior. And so it's like I'm not gonna bring it up. So I definitely check out twitch.tv/winky and check out F's and the chat. It was like a really good time. We talked about a lot of different stuff, and so
we did. Talked about a lot of hardcore stuff, which, to be fair, we this is not a Season of Mastery hardcore podcast, and we do talk about it a lot here. So it's probably better that we had those discussions.
Yeah.
And
on
Agreed.
that show. So we did talk a lot about our thoughts on like duos and our thoughts on stuff like that. We talked about all kinds of stuff.
yeah, a bunch.
That's an incredible show, by the way.
Yep.
People should go watch it. It is a blast to watch people die all together and the chat's just going off. Everyone's like, F, because that's what they say in the chat.
Yep. And I got
and chat.
roasted right at the beginning. That was fun. But
That
for
was
anybody listening, this is a classic pod. We're going to talk about what's big and classic at the moment. So, there were definitely people that wrote in and commented and said, "Man, too much PvP talk." When phase 1 was ending, but that was the big thing that we were doing at the time. Right now, Season of Mastery Hardcore is a big thing we are doing. Do not worry, we will be back to TBC Hardcore. But we're at the end of
Not
of
TBC
phase 2.
hardcore.
I'll tell you what.
I'm not playing TBC
Oh
hardcore.
yeah, we'll
No
talk
way.
about it hardcore. Like.
TBC Hardcore would actually be really fun. I think I would enjoy it more than vanilla because I feel like that's the game I'm playing right now. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like
right.
I keep confusing stuff with vanilla
I
and
do
TBC.
too.
It's really confusing trying to play both at the same time.
But I think for me, I like we talk about what we're doing because that's what we know, and we're not just gonna. It becomes work when we have to talk about things that we aren't engaged in, right?
The problem is I agree with you. It's not even that. I think most people are feeling the content lull right now in TBC.
Yeah.
We're at the end of a phase. There's just not there's not a ton to talk about. We could make stuff up to talk about, but I'll tell you what. Here's a new segment I'll start next week. Every actually, how many weeks do we have? I don't know if this works out. Maybe I should have started this already. I'll do a little lore segment on a boss coming out in the next phase. We'll talk about a couple of the bosses and who they are, so we can talk about something other than nothing in TBC going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Less raid chat. We'll talk about next bosses.
All right. Well, let's move on to the add-on of the week. So this week, I actually found a new add-on that I am absolutely in love with, and that is Leatrix Maps. Now, Leatrix has another add-on, like Leatrix Plus, that does a bunch of stuff, and I always thought the maps were like in that, and I didn't want all of that jazz. So But I found out recently that Leatrix Maps is completely separate and you can get it, and it is awesome. It makes your map smaller so you can still see, the roundabout, what's going on your screen. You can look at your quest log while you have your map open, which is huge. It shows you routes in and out of zones. It shows you entrances to dungeons. You can turn Questy on and off on the map with just a click right on the map. It's super, super nice for a lot of different things. If you could add Gathermate to that Leatrix maps, that would be perfect, because then I wouldn't have to turn the add-on off and on. But it's really cool.
I don't use it, but I use their full compendium add-on, and that is also incredible. So I have no doubt that this is awesome. If you're not using like a group add-on, I bet TSM does a couple of the things that Leatrix does too. Like there's a lot of add-ons have like a couple of functions. Will be like, it'll collect your mail faster, it'll loot faster. Leatrix is just one of those compendium add-ons. It just does a bunch of little quality of life stuff.
It also, which is great for leveling, especially right now in the hardcore mode, it shows you the parts of the map you haven't uncovered and just has them a little dark. So you haven't uncovered them, but you can still see.
A little bit.
Yeah, because we've been doing quests in Ashenvale, and with all the mountains you have to walk around and crap there, like, it's been so helpful. So I definitely recommend it fully.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Woo!
Heck yeah. All right, well, this is crazy. We're actually, sometimes you're going to have a shorter episode, and there's nothing wrong with that. As for our schedule going into the holidays, now we haven't talked about it yet. We're hoping to maybe get something going, but our normal recording time is on Christmas Eve next week. So,
And New Year's Eve the next week.
Yeah.
yep. So I am assuming one of those weeks, at least one, if not maybe both, will be off. I was going to talk to the guys here, and I talked to Melderon. We could possibly do Thursday night, like earlier, but we're going to see. But there's no for sure episodes for the next two weeks. So hopefully we'll get at least one in, but I'm almost sure we will only get one in that time. So sorry about that, but it is it's the holidays, and if we do it, we might do something special. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. Definitely follow us on Twitter if you want to see what we are going to do, and you can do that at WC Reloaded. Where's my thing? There it is. Yep, you can follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. If you want to send us an email, you can do so by sending it to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to join our Discord and interact with the host of this show or any of the shows on the MASH network, it's mash.gg/Discord. Ratings and reviews. Now, we've been reading them each week, but we've had a backlog. We are now out of reviews, and we haven't had one for a couple weeks. So if you could help us out on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or warcraftradio.com/directory, that would be sweet. And yeah, that's going to do it. Where can we find you, Yip?
Hi, you can find me on everything. This is a Halo podcast now from Winky in the in the chat. You can find me on everything at the Yip Show on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, making content for tanks, making little tank guides, what I wear, do log reviews, stuff like that. So come check it out.
Awesome.
Like a
awesome.
fashion show? Like what you wear like in real life?
I could do that. I meant more
Hey.
for specific bosses, but I
Oh,
could do a little
that's
I could do a little
less
fashion
fun.
show.
Much less fun.
I do have the optimal character design on my character. I do look
Oh,
the best possible, so I could do a little
okay.
fashion show.
Okay, all right.
And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch, or you can find me on Bob's stream. We're doing our duo. That's about it.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me streaming quite often now at twitch.tv/blazinbob. No underscore on that one. So Hope to see you there chatting with us. And that's going to do it, guys. We're out. Short episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh. A short episode thanks to Winky in the chat. We got all our shenanigans out on your
Our
show.
rants.
F's in the chat.
Yeah, I mean,
F's in the chat. And
I do
F's
hate
and
them
chat.
I said and. Oh, I did say and. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely was Winky's fault though. It's hard because I feel like I do feel like we just did the podcast. Half of it was the podcast, half of it was talking about the clips.
Yep. So, well, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get back to doing some hardcore with Mel, and maybe Yip and Winky are gonna go play Halo. I don't know, but
Please don't make plans.
we will hopefully see you next week, but it could be after the holidays. We'll just have to wait and see. Take it easy, guys, and if we don't get to tell you, happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, chat. We're gonna go offline. Should we raid somebody? Is there somebody small? I always feel weird raiding somebody who's big. Oh, what do we got here?
Only Black Smoke.
Only Black Smoke.
Raid only Black Smoke. He was one of the deaths we watched
Oh yeah.
last night, and he's streaming right now. 13. That'll be perfect.
Perfect. All right, guys, take it easy. Tell him Warcraft Reloaded said hi, and tell him sorry for your death.
Don't say that. Don't tell him sorry for his death.